The 10 most corrupt presidents in Africa, the leaders who robbed their nations. Africa is one of the richest continents in terms of natural resources: gold, oil, diamonds, and vast agricultural potential. Yet millions of Africans live in poverty. Why? Because corruption has drained the wealth of nations. And at the heart of this crisis are the very people who were supposed to protect their countries, their presidents. These leaders didn't just steal a little. They looted billions, built lavish lifestyles, and left their countries in economic ruin. Some were forced out of power, some died with their secrets, and others are still ruling today. Who are the worst offenders? Let's expose the 10 most corrupt presidents in Africa. 10th, Teodoro Obiang Nguema, Mbasogo, Equatorial Guinea. Years in power, 1979. Present estimated stolen wealth, over $600 million, officially proven, but likely billions. Teodoro Obiang is Africa's longest-serving president, and under his rule, Equatorial Guinea has become one of the most unequal countries in the world. The country is rich in oil, but its people live in extreme poverty while Obiang and his family control the nation's wealth. His son, Teodoro Obiang, was caught spending millions on luxury mansions, expensive cars, and even Michael Jackson's crystal glove, all with stolen state funds. Despite multiple international investigations, Obiang remains in power, ruling with an iron fist. 9. Mobutu Sese Seko, Democratic Republic of Congo, formerly Zaire. Years in power, 1965-1997. Estimated stolen wealth. Over $5 billion. Mobutu was one of Africa's most extravagant dictators. He ruled the DRC for 32 years, looting billions while his country suffered in poverty. He built luxurious palaces in Europe, flew in meals from Paris daily, and even paid musicians to sing his praises on national TV. Meanwhile, the country's infrastructure collapsed, and hospitals and schools barely functioned. When he was finally overthrown in 1997, he fled to Morocco, leaving behind a broken nation. 8. José Eduardo dos Santos, Angola. Years in power, 1979 to 2017. Estimated stolen wealth, over $32 billion. Dos Santos ruled Angola for nearly 4 decades, overseeing massive corruption. Despite Angola being one of Africa's top oil producers, much of the wealth disappeared into the pockets of Dos Santos and his inner circle. His daughter, Isabel dos Santos, became Africa's richest woman, controlling key industries while millions of Angolans remained poor. Investigations later revealed that much of her fortune came from government contracts and embezzlement schemes. 7. Yahya Jammeh, Gambia. Years in power, 1994 to 2017. Estimated stolen wealth, over $1 billion. Yahya Jammeh was one of Africa's most bizarre and corrupt leaders. He claimed he could cure AIDS with herbal remedies, executed political opponents, and looted state funds for personal use. After his exile in 2017, investigators discovered that he had stolen nearly $1 billion, buying luxury properties, fleets of Rolls-Royces, and even a private jet. His downfall marked one of the biggest financial scandals in Gambia's history. 6. Sani Abacha, Nigeria. Years in power, 1993 to 1998. Estimated stolen wealth, over $4 billion. Abacha ruled Nigeria with an iron fist for only 5 years. But in that short time, he stole billions. He funneled government money into foreign bank accounts, making him one of the most notorious thieves in Africa's history. Even after his death in 1998, Nigeria is still recovering his stolen funds. In fact, more than $3 billion of Abacha's loot has been returned from Swiss and US banks, and more is still being traced. 5. Omar al-Bashir, Sudan. Years in power, 1989. 2019. Estimated stolen wealth. Over $9 billion. Bashir ruled Sudan for 30 years, using corruption, war, and dictatorship to stay in power. He embezzled billions while Sudan's people suffered extreme poverty. In 2019, he was overthrown and later convicted of corruption. Investigators found over $100 million in cash hidden in his house. His financial crimes were just one part of his dark legacy. which included war crimes in Darfur. 4. Robert Mugabe, Zimbabwe. Years in power, 1980 to 2017. Estimated stolen wealth. Over $10 billion. Mugabe started as a liberation hero, but ended as one of Africa's most corrupt leaders. Under his rule, Zimbabwe's economy collapsed, inflation skyrocketed, and millions of people suffered. While ordinary citizens struggled, Mugabe and his wife Grace Mugabe lived in luxury. They owned multiple mansions, went on million-dollar shopping sprees, and controlled much of Zimbabwe's wealth through corrupt business deals. 3. Paul Biya, Cameroon. Years in power, 1982. Present estimated stolen wealth. Over $200 million, officially known, but likely more. Paul Biya is one of the world's longest-serving leaders. While Cameroon struggles with economic hardship, Biya spends months in luxury hotels in Europe. His government has been accused of massive embezzlement, with billions disappearing from public funds. Despite calls for democracy, Biya remains in power, using rigged elections and military force to maintain control. 2. Muammar Gaddafi, Libya. Years in power, 1969 to 2011. Estimated stolen wealth. Over $200 billion. Gaddafi ruled Libya for 42 years, controlling the country's oil wealth like a personal fortune. Reports suggest he had over $200 billion hidden in secret bank accounts and investments. While some viewed him as a revolutionary, his wealth was built on oppression, assassinations, and financial secrecy. When he was overthrown in 2011, Libya fell into chaos, and much of his fortune remains unaccounted for. 1. Sese Seko Mobutu, Democratic Republic of Congo. Years in power, 1965 to 1997. Estimated stolen wealth, over $15 billion. No one stole from their country quite like Mobutu. His lavish palaces, private jets, and foreign bank accounts made him one of the richest dictators in history. He embezzled billions in foreign aid, leaving the DRC in deep poverty. His corruption became so legendary that the term kleptocracy, rule by thieves, was often used to describe his government. Corruption has held Africa back for decades, draining resources that could have been used for schools, hospitals, and economic growth. But the real question is, why does this keep happening? And more importantly, can Africa ever escape the grip of corrupt leadership? Let's discuss in the comments, who do you think is the most corrupt leader in Africa's history, and how can this cycle be stopped? Thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more.